Well, we have been married nearly 50 years, and we started our married life in Canada, and began at a very early age a very early time to start collecting prints, and over time this branched out to paintings and sculpture, both indoors and outdoors. And the outdoor sculptures here at the Arboretum really have been accumulated over the last 20 years.
It is a global collection. In fact, when I counted up all the different countries from where these sculptures came, I think it's about 10 or 12 different countries. And it is a very contemporary collection. It's all just around the turn of the century, so it is a small span of time.
The Philip King is a wonderful association of mine because Philip studied with both Henry Moore and particularly with Anthony Caro, but was also a fellow, honorary fellow of my old college at Christ College, Cambridge. So it was rather wonderful that he not only came to install his piece in Wayzata, but renamed it from Reel 3 to Wayzata Reel. So there's a real Minnesota association involved in that one.
And also I want to zero in on one of my favorites, I guess I have so many, by Mimo Palladino, the Night Song, which I feel somebody has to write a children's story about. It is so whimsical, and yet Mimo Palladino apparently did not want to be over-interpreted. So for me, this is a piece where you take your children, you walk around, you talk about it, you find this emaciated dog on the back of the sculpture, and then this insect-like creature on the front, and in the back it's a baboon head. I mean, there's so many different things, and somebody creative could really write a most gorgeous story, and it's very graceful, very elegant, and yet then the second Mimo Palladino is so static, very upright, and I mean, you really can write a beautiful story on that, and I hope that people will really come back and be energized to get their creative juices going on maybe writing a book or telling stories or interpreting it their own ways. That piece is called Blütenmotiv. It's German, and it's like a color lily. And there are three versions. One is a small maquette, which is like a sample. Ours is the medium size, but the big Blütenmotiv stands in front of the Olympic Stadium in Munich. And Rudolf Belling had not done that many sculptures, but there are also some samples in our own Minneapolis Institute of Arts.
Piece from Penalba, Alicia
Cathedral.
Penalba, a sculptress from Argentina, and this one is called the Cathedral, and has a partly green, partly black patina to it, really quite upright, and very much looks like a European cathedral if you think of it in those terms.
And yes, there are 7 sculptures by women, 5 sculptures, because Barbara Hepworth has 3 pieces in there.
The Hepworth is called Crucifixion, or Homage to Mondrian as a subtitle. There are 3 copies of that, and one is still at Barbara Hepworth's home in St. Ives, England. The other is outside Winchester Cathedral, and now the 3rd copy will be here at the Arboretum. And by Bridget McCrum, Spirit Bird, which looks to me very much like a bird in flight.
George Rickey has particularly also a Minnesota connection. He died in St. Paul, where he had a home, in July of 2002, and his career started as a painter, but then during World War II he was involved with engineering projects, and he got so intrigued with engineering that this whole mobile system is now one of his trademarks, and he's very well known for that. We particularly like that piece because it's almost like a dance. Here at the Arboretum, we already thought it's a very fast dance, whereas in our home at Orcello, it was a more gracious, slow dance, but it's like a magnet. And this healing spirit dancer,
Apache warrior.
The Apache warrior is a piece that we found in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I wanted the native people to be represented because their art is extremely strong. It's a it's a spiritual dance, and he has magnetic powers, and I think that will very much appeal to all visitors from all over the world. Song of Five Voices has actually an Italian name. It's Un canto a cinque voci, and it represents a little bit our family of five that we had. And the tallest was our late son, the next was Alfred, then came our next son, and then I, and then the shortest one, our daughter. So it is a very personal piece.
And maybe just one word on the Louise Nevelson. To me, this looks almost like a ship, and being an opera fan as well, I could imagine the Flying Dutchman.
Yes.
When I look at that ship. It had been close to a lake at our home, but I think it'll look spectacular here as well. That one is called Night Gesture.
A lot of our sculptures have water associations because we love the the waters of Minnesota.
And some of the pieces, like the very large Mimo Palladino that's called Surtout, that had been on a hill overlooking the Arno River in Florence before it was brought to the United States. Well, the Granland, I think, should be spoken about because yes. Paul Granland is well known to people in Minnesota as a Minnesota sculptor. This particular one is called The Swimmers, and apart from having that name, we very much feel as though it's a family, sculpture. You can almost identify the father, the mother, and the children by looking at the piece. These are sort of like children to us. So in many respects, as we're getting on in age, the thought of giving our children something of lasting value would be to have their placement here at the Arboretum, because Ingrid's originally from Germany, I'm originally from England. And
we're both immigrants.
We're both immigrants, and I can't wax any more enthusiastically about life in Minnesota than giving these sculptures, but not only for our own children and grandchildren to see as they come and visit, but hopefully the hundreds and thousands of visitors that come through this wonderful Arboretum.
Yeah, I think Minnesota has been so welcoming to us that this is our thank you of having been part of it, and the welcome has really been felt in our hearts because this is a very personal collection, the way it grew, the way we found the things, the way we placed them, and have also been able to wonderfully place them right here at the Arboretum. And this is our gift to Minnesota.